How's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in, and if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And if you're watching this, this is not pre-recorded. That's right, we are live and dangerous because we're surrounded by the sharp and shiny objects today. If you're wondering what I'm flipping, at the moment I've got the Spyderco Shaman. Not the shaman, not the shaman, the shaman. And this is the Blade Ops exclusive in LMAX. And gosh, love this knife. So far, so good. Only had it in my possession now for a few days. Came across it in a swap. So I swapped one of my knives, got this in return. And here's the thing, I've always wanted a shaman. But my timing is always bad, right? Like, for example, I'll have the money and there won't be a shaman that I want that's available. Or one will be available, but it's the full serrated version and I just don't like full serrated versions. Or the one that I want is available and I just don't have the money. So when I had the opportunity to get this one, I had to jump on it. So that's what I've been carrying in my pocket for the last couple of days. And it's been fun. You know, there's no downsides just yet. Hey, we got Top Dog in the chat. He says, we going to do this? Yes, sir. We got Mia in the chat. How's it going? And of course, my man Oreo Dave. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining me. If you notice the thumbnail and you're just coming into the live right now, we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. That's 100 times what I currently have. And I know that when I announced that that was my next goal, a lot of people were like, do you understand math, Rollshambo? Do you understand how that works? Like, that's 100 times what I currently have. Is it going to take 100 times as long? I sure hope not. But listen, the best part about having a goal is that you have to reach for it. If it's not big, what's the point? And of course, I'd love to blow the channel up. And I think that a lot of channels don't get as far as they would like to because they're afraid to reach too high. They're afraid that they're going to turn into Icarus and, you know, fly too close to the sun and melt or something. I mean, some people don't tan well, but I digress. For me, 100K, that's my goal. As far as the time limit, my time limit for that's probably a couple years out. But I wouldn't complain if I got there sooner. Hey, we got Matthew Russell in the house. How's it going, Matt? Mia says, go big or go home. I'm already home, so all I have left to do now is go big. Anyways, so as far as what I wanted to go over today, there's been some developments in the knife community. Interestingly enough, one of my favorite knives in my collection, the Concept Fenrir, such a good knife. I love this one. I actually didn't get this one from Blade HQ or a retailer. I got it straight from Sparrow Knife Company's website. And it wasn't exactly a pre-order because you didn't really have to wait. I mean, I think there was like a 2-week wait time and then he started sending them out after he QC'd them. And so this came straight from Greg Schaub himself, not a third-party retailer. So I don't really have anything to complain about this one. And I love this spec. This spec specifically out of the original batch, because this was a batch 1 unit, sold out like immediately. And then it was the one that everybody wanted. Everybody wanted the titanium with the carbon fiber and the black blade and the gold hardware. But for the longest time, you just couldn't get them. Now, not only are they back, but they have new models. There's a really glitzy version of this now in Damascus. And I only found out because someone commented on my video that I did on this one from back in, what was that, June, July? And they're like, I just got mine with Damascus. I'm like, what's Damascus? Since when are they doing Damascus on the Fenrir? And so I thought that would be something cool to dig into because that's not the only one. They're doing a couple new models, which I think is pretty dang cool. One of them is a copper carbon fiber foil with the black blade and the gold hardware. But I love that knife. So I figured, you know what? Might as well start off by checking that out. Oreo Dave says, my only fear for you is that you won't be able to carry the knives you like because you have to carry the knives you need to do content on. You know, that's a very valid fear. And I never thought that I would actually run into that where I felt obligated to carry stuff. The good news is that I have 2 pockets. And because I wear men's size jeans, they're actually pockets. You know, rest in peace to all the ladies out there whose pockets are just for show. My pockets can carry at least 4 knives or 1 Thunrar. Fun fact, carrying a Thunrar is like carrying 2 knives, maybe 2.5 in your pocket. So the only time I ever have to really make a sacrifice is if I'm carrying this, because that takes up an entire pocket by itself. Otherwise, you know what? There's 7 days in a week. I've got 2 pockets. That's 4 knives. That's 28 possible combinations. So I'll be all right. You know what? And here's the thing. I love all kinds of knives. The best part about having this channel is that it actually forces me not to get into a comfort zone. You know, comfort zones are dangerous because you get there and it's a beautiful place, but nothing grows there. And so, for example, this guy launched today. This is the Best Techman Ronan. And if you didn't know, Ronan is Old Irish for the little seal. I don't know. It won the Instagram competition, so that's what they named it. Very daring name. But for example, I would never feel obligated to carry this knife if I wasn't doing content for it. And if I passed that up, I'd be missing out on a really, really good knife. And so the good news is that I'm always carrying a knife, which is important. And also it forces me to really dig into knives in general, which is really good because I learn new things every day. My value proposition in my head has changed because now I'm not just looking at it as in, well, I spent X amount of dollars on this, so I better carry it. Because sometimes, like even before I had the channel, I felt obligated to just carry a knife because it's like, ugh, I just spent money on this. In the pocket it goes. And that's not necessarily the case anymore because I'm like, listen, I got to carry everything. Got to remain objective. And so this guy right here, the Best Techman Ronan, has been living in my pocket for the last week because I've been truly trying to decide if I like this one better than the other offering from Best Techman, which is one of my favorite budget knives. The Best Techman Dundee, fantastic knife. But when I hold it in my hand and compare it against the Ronin, it feels flimsy, and I can't get away from that feeling. It did not feel flimsy before, but maybe it's because this one is just a bit girthier in the hands. We got Cheeto Bandito in the house. How's it going, Cheeto? Oreo Dave says, Cheeto. Yeah, it's a beautiful stabby blade, dude. It's great. And you know what? I prefer blades that have a little more flash than this, to be completely honest with you. I mean, you know this. I love Isham designs. I love Arcane designs. I love all the knives that a lot of people look at and say, oh, that's a gas station knife. And then I can start a conversation with them and start talking to them about materials and, you know, design ideas. Before I get too off track, though, I wanted to show the new models of the Concept Fenrir. And I think that they're here. Yes, they are. All right, so first and foremost, let's check out this guy. This kind of looks like the one that I have, although the one that I have is just shredded carbon fiber. This one is a copper carbon fiber, and that copper carbon fiber looks great. I don't know why they didn't just do that for the first run. I mean, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this guy, but if I could have gotten it in copper carbon fiber, I would have. Now this one, brand new, cost me about $30 less than what that's currently listed for. So, I mean, all in all, I still like this. This one is still great. It goes in my display case. But the copper carbon fiber just looks so good. I don't believe they changed anything else. Nope, still S35VN. Just a different handle scale material since it's copper carbon fiber. Oreo Dave says the Fenrir is the stabby blade comment for. You know what? Like, honestly, man, this guy is this guy's very stabby as well. I mean, it's a leaf-shaped blade. Spear. I mean, shoot, you could probably tie this to a spear if you needed to in a pinch. Mike Reese in the house. How's it going, Mike? Welcome to the live. And you know what? If you're just piling in here now, please smack the like button on your way in. It helps me out and it helps people understand that we are here. So I definitely appreciate that. The other concept Fenrir that I just found out about, and this just came out. This one is $246, which is a bit of a step up in price. Remember, this guy cost me $170, and so for another $76, math isn't my strong suit. Another $76, you get S35VN and Timascus handle scales. What? And here's the deal. If you watch my video on this, you'll know that I'm actually not a fan of this black finish. A lot of people call this a DLC coating, but it doesn't feel like any other DLC coatings that I have. And it's just too glossy. It's glossy and matte at the same time, which is weird to me. And so the fact that you can get this now in Timascus with black titanium and a satin finish on the blade is very, very appealing to me. Black hardware, and yeah, still S35VN. You pay an extra $70 for that Timascus, but Timascus ain't cheap. And I've been drooling all over this guy ever since I found out about it. But do I need two of these? Probably not. Do I want two of these? Absolutely not. So, wanted to talk a little bit about that because I'm super interested. And I know that they had another one that they released as well. This one's already sold out, and that is the Timascus with the Damascus blade. I'm not surprised that sold out, but I'll say this. I think that I like Damascus as kind of a visual thing. But when it comes to performance, I don't really know anything about concepts like how they do their Damascus. What's it comparable to? I don't know. If you know what concepts Damascus is comparable to blade steel wise, shout it out in the chat because I would love to find out. And honestly, I saw this and I thought to myself, either it's really good Damascus or it's like Civivi Damascus, which I wouldn't necessarily pay more for. Like I'll pay more for Timascus, but not an unknown Damascus flavor because I just don't know. Oreo Dave says, could you anno titanium to make it look like Timascus for cheaper? Yes, you can. If you have a little bit of know-how, if you're capable of watching some YouTube videos and hooking up a battery, and I think you have to get like a certain type of like neutralized water or something, and then you dip it in and you have to charge the water with the battery. It's a recipe for disaster if you're not really paying attention, I think. But you can absolutely anno titanium from home, and you can make it do these crazy rainbow pattern type things to make it look like Timascus. But people with a discerning eye will know the difference, and I feel like when you do that to a knife, you're going to want to show it to people, and you're going to want to show it to people that know what they're looking at. And I can tell you this, anno that's not done right, I mean, everyone's got to start somewhere. I think that for me, I would probably start on a cheaper titanium knife, like maybe a Tucson. Speaking of which, this should all look familiar to everybody, given that I have shown this off in one of my recent live streams, but I didn't have it in my possession, and now I do. Full thoughts on this will probably be coming in a video soon. I think they're positive. We'll find out. Honey Bear, how's it going, Honey Bear? He says Damasteel is usually compared to CPM 154. Damacore has a proprietary core steel similar to Vanax. If it's not Damasteel, who knows? Yeah, exactly, man. Here's the thing. There's a difference between Damacore, Damasteel, and Damascus. Damascus is just different layers of steel composition versus, Damacore or Damasteel, which we know what they're similar to. We know what to expect from, a Damacore blade. We know what to expect. We can look that up. It's been documented. It's been patented. But for example, it took us a long time to find out what Civivi Damascus was made out of. And turns out that it's actually pretty decent Damascus. But for example, for a concept knife, I haven't heard anything as far as what Concept uses for a proprietary blend of herbs and spices. So I just don't know. If anyone pops into the live and how Concept's Damascus fares, what it performs like, make sure you shout it out. Furthermore, let's see what else is new, because here's the thing. We're in the prime knife release phase. The wintertime, like November, December, January, is the perfect time for knife companies to just come out and come out with new models, with new sales. Let's see what's new at Blade HQ. Ooh. If you've been wanting something from Garage Built Gear, they've got the Tchotchke wallet Black Typhoon. But how much is it actually a wallet, or does it hold gear? It's actually a wallet, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I know that Garage Built stuff tends to sell out pretty dang quickly. They've got a Desert Warrior Elementum, CJRB Pyrite. I've been hearing a lot of good things about these CJRB Pyrites, and CJRB is Artisan Cutlery's budget brand. And so I don't know how I feel about seeing a $200 CJRB. Like, should they have just put it under the Artisan Cutlery brand, like $200 with your budget brand? I don't know. I think that when you build a brand around a price point and then you go above that price point, maybe it's just me. The materials and stuff look good. S35VN looks like carbon fiber. It's not fat carbon fiber. It's more of a camo carbon fiber. I know that the button locks on these are supposed to be some of the best. A lot of bigger channels are saying, no, not the Saxy, get the CJRB Pyrite. And I haven't held one yet, and I probably won't start with the $200 one. But they do have cheaper models, and I might check one of those out soon. Ooh, we got a new Dagger Knives Arrow. So for the longest time, these were popular because people looked at them, they saw the hole, and they thought they were Spydercos. This is not a Spyderco. Dagger Knives, I actually think, are they Russian? Yeah, country of origin, Russia. Awkward. But I actually do like this blade shape just because it's interesting and it's different. I don't know if I can buy one right now. Supporting Russian companies is tough, not because I hold them accountable for the actions of their government, just because I just don't know. I mean, with all the sanctions going on right now, I don't know how much I want to invest in that. But I think it's a really cool looking blade. I like the materials that it's made out of. For the price, I mean, I could have sworn these were cheaper way back when. But for $88, you do get carbon fiber, just shy of 4 ounces, D2 style blade, and it's not a small guy either. 3.5 inch cutting edge. About 8.5 inches overall. I've always wanted to check one of these out. I just don't know if now is the right time. Yeah, they do have some cheaper models. They got the yellow one with the black blade for $72. And then, of course, your regular smattering of Microtechs and Kershaws. It seems like Blade HQ always has a certain smattering of Microtechs and Kershaws. You can always find those. Got a Cold Steel Verdict. What else? Yeah, Oreo Dave says $200. Never mind. It's kind of a tough pill to swallow. I don't know if I could do that. This looks interesting. The Almar Quicksilver Slimline. Stiletto type blade. Bayonet style? I wonder if that's a false edge on here. Is that a false edge or a true edge? I bet it's false. It's got to be a false edge. Does not say. But it is a stiletto type blade, and it's a big guy. It's 11¼ inches long. D2, $124. I don't know anything about Almar. It does not have a country of origin, so we have no idea where it's made. But it is a cool looking, modern style stiletto looking knife. I might have to reach out to them and see if they have one they'd be willing to lend me to check out. That'd be pretty cool. All right, so something I'm really excited for. I'm not sure if any of you have heard of Chapman Lake Knives, but I've been reaching out to them recently, and I can confirm that they are going to be sending me a CLK1 model to review. I don't get to keep it. It's definitely going to be a loaner. But I'm excited because all-American made company out of Indiana. These come in a drop point and in a Tanto, and everything they make is in-house. I would say it's a semi-custom knife because they are a company that is a subsidiary of the main company, which makes medical tools like surgical scalpels and stuff. So their tolerances are supposed to be pretty damn good. And I haven't seen them very much, but I have seen them on a few of the bigger channels so far. And they said, hey, when we send you one, you know, what combo would you like to check out? And I said, you know what, shoot over the gray with the blue hardware, because I think that looks fantastic. Metal Complex already reviewed the one with the electric blue handle scales. That's a little flashy for me. I actually like the gray with the blue hardware. But it's a button lock that's supposed to have extremely good tolerances. You could call it a semi-custom, I guess, because it is all made in-house. You know, maybe it's not even a semi-custom. Maybe it's just a USA production model. But so that's cool. That's really cool. I'm really excited to get one of those from them to check out. Button lock knives are kind of still the in thing, but yeah. I just thought it was cool. They responded to me and that they were willing to send one my way. They said it would take a couple weeks. I know that a lot of retailers and manufacturers and knife companies are getting ready for SHOT Show, which should be going down in the first week of January. I'm kind of bummed because me and my pesky day job, I couldn't make time to go to Vegas for SHOT Show because I still have to pay the bills normally. There was a couple manufacturers that reached out to me and said, hey, come by our booth at SHOT Show. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be there. But I am planning on going to Blade Show in June. So anyone that I miss at SHOT Show, I'll have to catch up with at Blade Show. And if any of you guys happen to be at Blade Show in June in Atlanta, make sure you come find me because I will definitely be there. Oreo Dave says, how are things going with Alphabet Soup Knife Company? The Civivi Clavi is going to replace my CEO unless they can get that billboarding off the blacked out Tanto. Man, so here's the deal. They haven't, they watched the video. They loved the video. They told me to tell you thank you for all the name suggestions. Ironically, most of the name suggestions that I got were for the model itself. And they're looking for like a rebranding of like the company name for their knives. So I don't know what they're going with. They asked me, they're like, what do you think of the name? And it looked like Remedy, like it was spelled out Remettete. And I was confused. I was like, that sounds like an Italian last name. And I have nothing against Italian last names. I think Italians have some of the coolest last names, if I'm being completely honest. But they're a Chinese company. And so I asked him, like, but why? And he said, well, you know, it translates to, and then he told me what it translated to, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me because I Googled it. Google did not come back with that. So I was like, so I said, hey, you know what? I'm just your average guy, but chances are if I don't understand and I can't look it up on Google, neither can anyone else. So your meaning might not mean anything to people. And they didn't, they're like, oh, okay, thanks for the suggestion, you know, blah. So we'll see. However, I'm really, really glad that you asked because I'm going to do a video on modifying this knife. You see, because I think that it deserves a new image. It deserves a second chance. It didn't choose to be branded with D2 and QYG MGS on the blade. It didn't choose that. That was done to it. So I recently got a rotary tool with a wire brush head, and I'm going to do some modification to this guy. Now I haven't decided because D2 is not a super stainless, which means that I could either try to do a ferric acid wash. I could go for a full mirror polish on the blade. I could try a mirror polish, and then if I don't like it, then do an acid wash. I could do a mustard patina. I could do a apple cider vinegar patina. But I do know that after I cleanse the blade on this bad boy, I'm going to hand it over to a buddy of mine who has an engraving machine, a laser engraver, and I'm going to get him to engrave the channel logo on it. So that should be pretty cool. I've already seen what he can do on his own knives. He's already engraved a couple of his Spydercos, and it looks great. It looks fantastic. And he's asked me before if I wanted to do it on any of my knives, and I said, you know what? No, this would be one that I would actually make the exception on because this might become the new channel unboxing knife. As soon as I cleanse it of the current branding, because I love the knife. Just like most people, I'm just not a fan of the mix of letters on the blade itself. I think that is not necessarily a good thing. Otherwise, the balance is good, super easy to fidget with. The action is supremely good. It's sharp, feels good in the hand. Everything lines up with this. But the fit and finish is off only because of that billboarding. That billboarding is terrible. They know it's terrible, and they need to pick up the pace on understanding why customers will or will not buy a knife. Because to some people don't care about this branding. They don't care about alphabet soup being there because they're going to be jamming into logs and it's going to get beat up so fast. Other people, the discerning knife lovers, even those who love budget knives, they'll look at that and be like, man, you know what? Maybe all I can afford is D2, but I don't want to be reminded of it every time I go to cut something. So I'm really excited. I'm going to strip the coating off the blade, and then I'm going to try a mirror polished. If I like that, I'll keep it. If I don't, then I'm going to do an acid wash. And then I'm going to get the channel logo laser engraved on the blade, because I think that'd be pretty cool. Hey, Ghana Ryan in the chat. How's it going, man? Trevin in the house says Boogaloo. K Mason, how's it going, man? He says some Sharpie and I don't look at it too close. Hey, that would do it, man. That would do it. But you know what I've noticed is that Sharpie black does not look the same as any other black on a knife. I know because I've tried, and even if you cover it up, you still know. The only way to do this is to cleanse this, possibly with fire. Otherwise, great knife. Love the action. Love the ergos. Everything feels good. And as long as I'm not looking at that billboarding on it, I really like it. So I think that I've got to do a modification video on this because this knife deserves it. Oreo Dave says, would Sharpie work on covering it up? Test before knotting, please. Do I have a black Sharpie? I don't have a black Sharpie at my desk. Not yet. Not yet. But I'm telling you, black Sharpie would cover it up, but you would still be able to see it because the black on the Sharpie is going to be different than the black on the blade. They're just different blacks. And so it's still going to stand out. So for me, I would rather do, I'd rather strip the finish. I mean, it's D2. You know, it's not like I'm looking at something that is super premium or anything as far as the cost is concerned. If I were to screw it up, I could always go out and get another one, $40. Not too shabby. And so that makes this a perfect knife to do some modifications to, because I'm not just going to stop at the blade finish, because I'm going to do a mirror polish with my rotary tool. If it looks good, awesome. I'll leave it there. If not, acid wash or patina. And then on top of that, I'm going to take this to a mirror polish on the edge because I think that would just complete the aesthetic. No matter what finish I do, I think that that's got to happen. I want to lay back that edge bevel a little bit so that it's even more slicier. And yeah, new channel unboxing knife in the works. And Conway said, that would be cool, dude. Make it your own. I love making knives my own. It just happens to be that most of the time when I do that, I spend twice as much as the knife originally cost doing that. And, you know, I already have plans for this guy in the works for the Blade Ops exclusive Shaman. This guy needs new scales. I don't think that I'll go, you know, full Alice in Wonderland on this thing with the zirconium scales or whatever, but I would like to get some titanium scales for it. As far as, I don't know if I'm going to go as crazy with the design language as I did on my Para 3 and on my Yojimbo 2. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that far. I might go a little bit simpler aesthetic. I'm also thinking about getting an OCD for EDC button tab thing, because I'm absolutely bummed out by how much that tab, which is this piece right there, I'm absolutely bummed out about how much that hits my finger. Like my Paramilitary 2 has kind of the same problem with that little doohickey right there, but it doesn't hit your finger nearly as bad as it does on the Shaman. Like I can barely feel that. I can feel it hitting my finger, but I can barely feel that. On the Shaman, it is physically smashing against the tip of my finger. So OCD for EDC makes an add-on, which is a little tab that goes on there, and it sticks out, and you just press the tab in, and it works around that little nubbin, and so you don't really hit your finger on it anymore. It's like making it a button lock, which is pretty cool. K Mason says, does paint stripper take off the coating? I don't believe so. I don't think so, because if they're telling the truth, this is a PVD type coating. I don't know if paint stripper would do that. It might be worth checking out. I mean, I could always get some acetone, you know, some nail polish remover, whatnot, but I don't know. I think that it could be fun trying to figure out if I could get that coating off, because I think that the billboarding is only etched into that coating. But that's the other part too, is that I don't want to strip the coating just to find out that the billboarding that I hate is still there. That would be a bummer. I mean, I guess that I could always try one, and if it's still there, then I could hit it with the wire brush. And but my goal again is to try a mirror polish first. The only way I can do that is if I hit it with some kind of buffing agent. So we'll see. We will definitely see. But I'm excited. It's going to be a fun project, and I'm going to try to catch as much of it on tape as possible. A lot of it's going to be like the boring minutia type thing, so I might do a time lapse. We'll see. It should be fun. Anyways, DLT Trading. I wonder what's going on with them. I actually haven't checked out any of these sites that I had pulled up. I just pulled them up for the sake of the stream. So let's go ahead and check those out real quick. New. Well, actually, no. Let's check out the drops first. Nope. Nothing new on the drops. Nothing new. Ooh. This one dropped today. What? I did not know that. What the? Okay, so if you've been wanting a Brian Brown knives, a Raptor, here you go. It's the Raptor V2 bronze anodized titanium marble carbon fiber inlay PVD accents. I've heard nothing but good things about this knife, and that is gorgeous. I love the way that the blade looks simple, like a simple drop point, but it has these accents, the swell of the spine into almost a harpoon. If they had raised this apex right there a little bit, it'd be a harpoon. But I really like that inlay on those titanium scales, and I hear that the action is premium. 375 bones. Knives keep me so poor. But that is beautiful. I know a lot of people love Brian Brown knives, and that is fantastic. It's a DLT exclusive. M390, of course, frame lock, 3.4 ounces. You know, it's not as big as I thought it was. It's 7.75 inches. Like from the get, this to me, I would assume this would be at least an 8-inch knife, but as you can tell, I've never held one before, so there you go. Gosh, I've always wanted a Raptor. Now is not the time. We got Johnny Casada in the house. How's it going, Johnny? And K Mason says, what's the steel on the Blade Ops exclusive? This guy, the Blade Ops exclusive is in LMAX. And here's the deal. I love LMAX. LMAX is awesome because the edge retention is extremely similar to M390. It's not quite as good, but it's close. It's kind of like 1A and 1B. But it's a tougher steel and it's easier to sharpen. So you get a lot more bonuses than negatives. LMAX is definitely a super steel or in that category if you categorize steels. And it's not something that you find all over the place. Like, yes, there's knives in LMAX, but there's not as many knives in LMAX as there are in S35VN or S45VN or M390. You're more likely to find a knife in 20CV or M390 than you will in LMAX, which is a shame to me because these knife steel compositions, they're chasing the dragon. You know, they're trying to get the best edge retention out there, but what are you sacrificing to get there? And I'll give you an example of this. I got a buddy of mine into Spydercos, and I work with him, and we talk knives in the office, and he's always asking me how the channel's doing, and he's the one with the engraving machine, right? And so he tells me, he's like, man, I'm getting a Manix 2 in Maximate, and I'm like, oh, Maximate, nice, you know. And I've never had a knife in Maximate before, and so he gets it. And keep in mind the floor in our office is carpeted. It's a carpeted floor. And so he's fidgeting away with his new Manix 2 in Maximate, and it drops tip down into the carpet and snaps the blade. It's not a bad one, but it snapped off about, I would say, a good centimeter or two, maybe centimeter and a half. And I watched it happen. Right into carpet, fell down, snapped the blade. And it didn't sink, like it didn't sink down into the floorboard or get stuck or anything. It just like, and so I looked into it, and it turns out that Spydercos that are made out of Maximate, because they heat treat it so well, the Maximate is more brittle. Maximate is not a super tough steel, and the edge retention is insanity. But people have reported dropping their Spydercos in Maximate from things like, you know, ladders onto, you know, the dirt ground, and the blade shatters, and I wouldn't believe it had I not seen it with my own two eyes, a Manix 2 being dropped on carpet. And so for me, the question isn't so much what's the craziest edge retention I can get, but more of the fact, what's the best edge retention I can get without sacrificing the toughness of the steel? Because it only makes sense that the harder something is, the more brittle it will be. So LMAX is going to be a lot more tough than M390 and easier to sharpen with great edge retention. I mean, why don't we have more knives in LMAX? Or Crewwear. I mean, shoot. Crewwear, absolutely love Crewwear. I got my Paramilitary 2 in Crewwear, and if I could get all my knives in Crewwear, I would do it. Absolutely love Crewwear. I'm a bit of a Spyderco fanboy if you haven't been able to tell so far. Conway says, I got one of those Blade Ops Shamans. I live relatively close to River's Edge Cutlery and missed out on theirs. LMAX is a steel I haven't used much. Had a ZT in it years ago, but they messed it up. That's the other thing, is that a lot of times we look at things and we take them at face value when we look at the spec sheet, right? And we say, oh, you know what? This has such and such blade steel, so it's got to be good. But the question at that point really is, how well did they do the heat treat? I know that Spyderco does a phenomenal job on their heat treats. I don't have to question that. But you look at some other companies and it makes you wonder, like, okay, so maybe you test one knife and you're like, this is great. And then, you know, you buy another knife from them and the heat treat is bad and it doesn't hold an edge. So it's all about the consistency. And that's one of the reasons why Spyderco is so popular, is because over time they've been one of the most consistent. So LMAX from Spyderco is not going to be the same thing as, say, like LMAX from Kizer. Not to say that Kizer does a bad heat treat or anything. They don't. But when you change companies, that knife steel composition can all of a sudden yield different results. This one, as far as the cutting geometry, like, this is a big, thick blade. And yeah, it cuts really, really well. I'm out of paper in here, which is a bummer because I was going to do a cut test. But I've sheared through probably about 3 or 4 sheets of paper, just trying to see how clean the edge was and how consistent from tip to tang. And like, it didn't snag anywhere. Surprisingly good. I did not expect it to do as good as it did. And something else, I didn't mention this in my Shaman video, but check this out. It's got a backspacer. I go nuts for backspacers. And so the fact that they do one stock, oh man, I love it. Absolutely love it. I gotta do something about these scales. I gotta do something about this clip. I dislike the regular Spyderco pocket clip. I really dislike the regular Spyderco pocket clip in the Shaman style. Blah. Why did I say that? On the Shaman specifically, it's bad because it has that lanyard hole that goes through it. And maybe it's not bad if you like lanyards, but it's way too far down. I've got way too much sticking out of my pocket, and that bums me out because if I rub up against something, like, I have a tight garage, I don't want to scratch my car because I'm trying to get, you know, through the door and the clips hanging out and all this. Like, I don't want this hanging out. And so it really, really bums me out that we have this much sticking out. Now, like, for example, this is the stock clip on a Manix 2. So you have that much. On the Shaman, it's even more sticking out than on a traditional Spyderco clip. So it's just, the clip has got to go. Lynch Northwest or MXG, one of those. Pacific Suns, they've got some good deep carry clips that I really like. Sometime soon, that will probably be the first modification that I do to the Blade Ops Shaman. The clip has got to go. Tori Casey says, every Spyderco I have is rocking a Lynch. I haven't gotten a clip from them yet. I tend to like the MXG clip, the look of it a little bit better. As far as performance, I mean, anything's a bit of a boost over the stock clip. But it might be time for me to actually check out the Lynch Northwest clips because people say really good things about them. and I like to try everything. Conway says, Crewware is my favorite steel. Got married with a Crewware Native 5 in my pocket. Hell yeah. Okay, Mason says, the Native 5 was my gateway knife into good knives. Nice. My gateway knife into good knives was the Shaman. So it wasn't the knife that got me into knives, but it was my first knife that cost over $100. And I got this one because I was like, I don't really like the paramilitary 2 look, because at the time I still thought the paramilitary 2 looked weird, and this one looked more acceptable. This one, since then, I put a mirrored edge on. Look at that mirrored edge. God, that's nice. Super slicey, and it's a good knife. And here's the thing: the action on this when I first got it was terrible. Spyderco knives really do have a bit of a break-in period, but when I first got it, even pulling completely down on this ball bearing lock, it would not fall shut. And now you'd think that it's on bearings. It's not. The action is super good though. This knife is actually responsible for getting my buddy into Mannix 2s. I let him borrow mine, and he loved it so much he ordered 3. He got a lightweight version, he got a standard version with S30V, and then he got the Maximate one that he snapped the tip on. We fixed the tip. We ground it down and fixed it. I mean, it lost a little bit of overall length, but you can hardly tell. Ain't what it ain't in the house. He says, geometry is just as important as steel. An open L still melts cardboard when it's completely dull. Yeah. That's so true. It's not always just the steel. It's also the geometry. Very well said. For me, the crazy thing is that it's not just the geometry either. It's also, for example, one of the reasons why the Thunrar, this big honking thing, cuts through cardboard so damn good is because of the weight. I don't like it's going to continue downwards on whatever I'm cutting. This probably cuts better than anything else that I have in my collection at the moment, the Thunrar, and it's ridiculous to carry, and I do carry it. It keeps small children away. It keeps HR busy. Surprisingly, one of my favorite carry knives is also weighs about, the same amount as about 3 or 4 other knives, which is nuts. This is basically a 12-ounce knife. But I love it. It cuts so good. I probably have done about a couple hundred cuts through cardboard with this. And it just keeps going. And the weight of the knife behind it really aids with that. One of the reasons why this cuts so well is because it has similar blade geometry to competition cleaver. So it stays thin for a while, and then it gets super beefy behind the edge. But by the time it gets that 1/4 inch thick blade spine, you're already well through it. So it keeps on going. So the thick spine doesn't really hinder it all that much as far as cutting through things like cardboard, paper, whatever. It'll demolish everything, and I love that. And it's ridiculous, and I also love that. Oreo Dave says, useful equals justifiable. I like it. That's what justifies it for me. And the folks over at Midgard's Messer USA sent me this belt holster for it, which I'm not really a holster guy, but the benefit of this is that it keeps my pockets clear so I can carry other things. So if this is the one I want to carry, and I'm okay, putting on a sweater or a sweatshirt so that I don't have this big old holster sticking out, it does free up my other pockets, and I do like that. Anyways, Brian Brown Raptor over at DLT dropped today. If you've been looking for a Raptor, make sure that you go check them out. I do not, of course, have an affiliate link with them, but that's really good to know. What else do they have? We're going to go ahead and filter their new items by the newest. Looks like we got some pens. Write in the Rain notebook. Heretic Cleric, nice. 430 bucks is what it is. Got a nice smattering of traditional style pocket knives, some fixed blades that are way too big to carry normally, but unless you live in Texas or Kansas. If you live in Kansas, you can every day carry a katana if you want to, and I think that's insanity, but there you go. Looks like we got some open L's. The cardboard melter itself, not expensive. It's number 9 stainless steel. This one has a corkscrew, a wine bottle opener. Not bad. Ooh, there we go. You guys know how I feel about Olamic. They've got such cool designs. Like, I don't see myself buying one of these anytime soon. But Oreo Dave, I believe you mentioned earlier, can't you just anodize titanium to get that Damascus type look? You can do crazy things with titanium. For example, this is a Damascus handle scale, but it's also been custom anodized to give it that lightning wave type look. So yes, it's Damascus, but this is a good example of what you can do with anodization on titanium. You can do some really insane anodizing. I'm trying to find a good example of that, but struggling. All these Olamics are so nice, but they're so expensive. Ugh. Attention to detail. I want to try one of these. I just don't have $1,000 for it. What else do they got? Ooh. A $271 Hogue Deca. Tritium insert. Okay. That's cool. Tritium insert, black Cerakote, carbon fiber. And you know what? That extra milling on the carbon fiber looks great. It looks like, you know, petrified dinosaur bone. That, I love the look of that carbon fiber. 20 CV. See, I was kind of hoping that was going to be Magna Cut, but it's not. Bummer. 2.3 ounces though. That's pretty damn good. 2.3 ounces. So for all the people out there that says, hey, I will not carry a knife over 4 ounces. That Hogue Deca is almost half that. That's fantastic. I've been seeing these Olight flashlights everywhere. And it makes me wonder, like, is it really necessary? So, like, do I have mine in here? No, I don't. I have it in the other room. I've got one of the Olight Baton 3s, which is this tiny little flashlight, but it's so freaking bright. Clip it onto the brim of the hat. But I keep seeing people with these that have the switch. And I'm trying to figure out what all the craze is, because these seem to be extremely popular. 120 bucks. I know Olight makes good products. 120 bucks, magnetic charging, pocket clip. That's cool. True pocket clip. And that switch. Does anyone have one of these? If so, do you like it? Let me know in the chat. K Mason says, same in Colorado, my dude. No blade length limit, open carry, while some cities have their own limit, like Boulder, I know, does. Dude, as you know, I live in Denver. So here's the thing. While Colorado knife laws in general aren't very restrictive, in the cities, they are. So, for example, in Denver, in Colorado, I can legally have this and carry this in Colorado. That's the regular law. You know, this is my Microtech, Ultratech. Nobody cares, right? But the moment I get into Denver, this becomes a lot less legal to carry, and they start paying a lot more attention. So the inner cities have way different knife laws than the state, and they trump the state knife laws because they're special districts. So you have to be careful in Colorado, because the moment you enter Denver with a certain knife, something that was legal just outside of city limits, no longer legal to carry in city limits. So just got to be careful about that, because yeah, nobody wants to get fines. No one wants jail time. No one wants to lose their knife, so on and so forth. Got to be careful. Top Dog says a lot of brands are just as good as Olight. Yeah, absolutely. I've heard some great things about Rovivon. Phoenix, I believe, is one of them. And then there's a whole bunch of, there's now a new niche for custom flashlights. What the hell? Olight Warrior, Olight. That's a big boy. Damn. What else they got? DLT, just like Blade HQ always has a smattering of Microtechs, DLT always seems to have a smattering of Medfords. And they don't seem new to me. Medford. The Medford M48. Not a bad looking knife, but it's $630. I'm looking for new models that I have not seen before. The Lion Steel Kerr. That's an interesting looking knife. $174. Nasty. That Pepto-Bismol pink. What's it's like the color of sprinkles that you put on icing. If it was just the pink sprinkle, that's what this is. This is Pepto-Bismol pink sprinkle. That is nasty. And I know that they're trying to appeal to the ladies out there who like to carry knives as well. I don't see very many ladies liking this color either. That's not really a feminine style pink. That just reminds me of, upset stomachs, diarrhea. 2.19 ounces though. Frame lock G10 M390. $190, not bad. Can't do the pink though. It's not gonna happen. Boker Plus Bally, more Heretic Clerics, Finch Reciprocity. I think this looks pretty badass. The title resin looks cool. I love the fact that it's resin. I wonder, is that titanium bolster or steel bolster? Does it say? Steel liner and bolster. Okay, so it's not titanium. The Buffalo Tooth had titanium bolsters, and I know that they were playing around with the idea of doing more titanium bolsters on their knives, and I hope that they continue to search that. I like the pocket clip on this guy. It's very simple, but that definitely works. And it's a titanium clip. Warncliffe style blade, super easy to sharpen, looks fairly stabby. So it's going to be good for, piercing tape and whatnot. Not a big knife, only 7 inches overall. 4-inch handle scale, 154 cm blade steel. And I love 154 cm. Great user steel. All right. Hey, Beefer Baron in the chat. How's it going, man? We also got Spider G. Spider G says, I don't remember what knife it was, but I watched a video on Instagram that had dinosaur fossil bone handles. Not sure if it's true, but I do know it was a full custom, of course, and dope as... Dinosaur fossil bone handles? So the handle scales are basically rock. I mean, over time, a fossil is basically it turns from bone to rock, right? So rock handle scales, that's nuts. I wonder how heavy it is. Ghana Rice says, other brands completely crush Olight. You see, I thought that Olight was pretty well standardized as a solid flashlight company. My Baton 3 is the best flashlight I've ever owned, I'll be honest. But I also normally have gone just with the big old mag lights. It wasn't until I really started getting into knives that I also considered an EDC flashlight. And so I don't have a whole lot of experience with other flashlights. If you guys have flashlight suggestions, shout them out in the chat. I'd love to hear it. What do you like that's better than Olight? Maybe I'll start checking out some flashlights as well. Ain't One at 8 says, check out the premium CJRB Pyrite. Budget companies putting out premium stuff makes me scratch my head. You missed it, dude. I was actually talking about this, and I had it pulled up over here. I got to reach out to Almar and see if they can send one of these for me to check out. But we actually were talking about the CJRB Pyrite, and it's here on page 1. This guy, $200. Look, I'm not arguing with the blade steel. I'm not arguing with the carbon fiber handle scales. What makes me shake my head at this is CJRB is a budget brand company. Budget. They are artisan cutlery. It's like if Civivi all of a sudden put out a $200 knife. But why? Like, just put it under artisan cutlery. It's a premium model. The Elementum, we Knife Co. understood. They said, hey, people love the Elementum. Why? Like, we know we want to make it out of more premium materials than G10 and, you know, whatever steel. Let's make a premium model. And then what did they do? They made it under the We brand. That makes sense. This does not make sense to me. This is marketing snafu. They should have just named it the Artisan Cutlery Pyrite. Because the materials are definitely there. Titanium button lock, purple haze, fat carbon fiber, S35VN, which I still think is a really great blade steel. Like, this should definitely be under the premium brand. But to have a $200 CJRB just blows my mind, dude. So really interesting that you mentioned that, because we did go over that. Gone Awry says, if you want flashlights, watch Best Damn EDC. He's gone down the flashlight rabbit hole and back. You know, I've watched a lot. I think that anybody that's into EDC has probably seen his channel. His channel is one of the most popular and relevant. And I have seen a lot of his content, but I've just never gone down the flashlight rabbit hole. That might change. Top Dog says, there are too many flashlights to list that are as good or better than Olight, and almost all of them cost less and most do not use proprietary batteries. So on my baton, the battery is internal. All I do is I just pop it in its case, and the case charges it. And then I plug the case into my wall via USB-C, and it charges the case. And if I need an extra external battery, the case doubles as an external battery charger. And the back end of the baton is magnetic, which is really handy because, you know, at nighttime, if I need to get into the hood of my car, I just pop that light onto the underside of the hood of my car, and boom, I can see everything. It's really bright. And so my experience with my Baton 3 has been good. Keep in mind, I don't know value when it comes to flashlights, so I could just be completely talking out of my rear right now because that's just been my experience. It's been the best flashlight that I've had. And so if people are saying that you can get better for less, I'm not opposed to it. Although I will say that I'm really preferable to having a magnetic end cap on the flashlight because that's just really useful. Tori Casey says, was talking to a dude that has that Pyrite. He took it apart and it had some plastic washers in there. Had some plastic washers in there to center it like some cheap ass knives do. He was not pleased at all. No! Look, $200. There's no room for plastic washers. There's no need for that. There's just no need. K Mason says, which flashlights use proprietary batteries? B for Baron says, Through Night is legit. I love them. All right. I'm your flashlight Padawan. Show me the way. Show me Through Night. All right, here we go. That's a big old boy right there. What do we got here? Co-branded flashlights. The Aqua Chigger. I'm probably not saying that correctly. The Outsider Collection. Okay, hey, $30. That's pretty good. Cool White. USA customer. That does not look like white. That looks very, very coppery. Looks like it uses 18650. Okay. Love me some good 18650s. Great batteries if you know how to charge them, I'll tell you what. Limited editions, what else they got? Okay, so this is going to be kind of like the baton that I have, the Olight baton. And of course it's sold out, of course it's $45. This looks almost exactly like my Olight Baton 3. It could be like a you know, same family. That's uncanny. The clip looks exactly the same. The knurling on the side looks the same. The button looks the same. What the crap? And it's got the same magnetic end cap. But the difference is that I believe that my flashlight cost $80 and this one costs $45. Why did I spend twice as much? But then again, you know what? If I wanted to buy this right now, at least from them, I couldn't. It's sold out. Keychain flashlight, Rovivon A-series, bright for its size. The TT20, $75.95. Cool white. That must be the light that they're referring to as far as the cool white. Okay, yeah. USB charging. Love it. Does it have a magnetic end cap? Does not look like it. That's okay. It's not like it needs to have that. It's just really useful for my purposes. Good looking flashlight. Waterproof up to 2 meters, drop test up to 1.5 meters. That is something that I will say. Before I bought my Baton 3, I watched several drop test videos where it was dropped off the top of 3-story buildings onto asphalt, survived no problem. And you know, that kind of thing is important to me on something like a flashlight, because a flashlight, you know, just like a knife, depending upon your lifestyle, could get really beat up. And flashlights are something that you always tend to use in emergency situations, so you want it to be tough. And I don't know if maybe that's just a standard for, you know, the flashlight community now, is that they're all tough, but that was something that I liked. Okay, Through Night. They are on my radar, especially this little guy, the T1 that's sold out. Can I find a Through Night T1 that's available, or is it just sold out on their website? Amazon? Are you there? Hey, there we go. Through Night T1 magnetic tail cap. $40, even cheaper. Nice. I dig it. So yeah, I could go out and get one right now. That's fantastic. Gonarai says, Rollshambo, flashlight nerds build their own. The custom market and Bass Pro Olight are nothing alike. I believe it. I definitely believe it. Oreo Dave says, make sure you don't search for a flashlight. Yeah, that's a different kind of connoisseur right there. Gonarai says, or make sure that he does. Things have gotten interesting here in the live. Tori Casey says, anyone buy the XL Feist in purple haze fat carbon fiber? I was thinking about it, all gone now. Okay, so the Feist is a knife that I really liked the original design of, but like many people, I thought that it was just too small for me. I'm not a huge fan of smaller knives in general. I didn't know they came out with an XL version. It sounds like, just like you, I also missed out, but let's check it out. XL Feist CF. And on Blade HQ, that looks like a regular. Where's the XL? Ooh. Titanium version. Titanium Tanto. And you know what? That actually looks beautiful. I love that design. On the handle scales, that looks great. A little bit of weight relieving there. Frame lock, of course. You know, typical Lundquist design. If this one was available in the XL, that would be perfect, because as it stands, 6.5 inches on the regular size model just does not cut it for me. 2.8 inch blade, I'm okay with that as long as the handle scales don't. as long as the handle scales don't suffer because of that. And in this case, it does, because they're only just about 3.5 inches long on the handle scales. I got regular man hands, okay? I don't want to have to use a lanyard to get a full grip on a knife. I just don't. Where is the XL Feist though? Are they all sold out? I'm not even seeing them. What if I do XL Feist? Am I even spelling it correctly? F-E. Gosh. I don't spell good today. Let's see. Not on Blade HQ. Where else could it be? Kizer knives. Okay. Here we go. Kizer Feist XL. If you know what, it's not fat carbon fiber, but if you wanted a bigger version and you're okay with micarta, $87 on Kizer's website direct. There you go. It says that it's discounted, but it's probably $116 is probably just their MSRP that nobody ever pays anyways. How big is this one? What's the difference between the XL and the regular? Okay, so you add about a 1/2 inch on the blade, roughly. So that's pretty decent. Do you add any to the handle scales though? Like how big is the handle scales? The handle length is 4.4. Yeah, so that's a substantial move up in size. That's cool. That is definitely one that I'd like to check out. Top Dog says, dude, get a Sofern? A Sofern SP10 Pro. You can get it with a magnetic tail cap and something like 4,000 K tint. Beaver Baron says they tested one through night by hitting it with a bat and hit it out of the park, and it survived. I'm telling you, the through night T1 looks exactly like the Olight baton. I would not be surprised to find out that they have similar like manufacturing, because I'm pretty sure they're made in China, so they might be coming out of the same plant. They look too similar is all I'm saying. Top Dog says, big tip, buy Chinese lights from company directly from China. Save a bundle. You want to mod, use a convoy host. Could I be getting into flashlights? It's possible. Michael Morgan, how's it going, man? He says, slightly averager than average hands. Yeah. Spider G says, Google it. I think referring to the Feist. I think. Are we still talking about the same thing? Laura Gillespie says, is the Kizer 2022 code still working for 30% off? Let's find out. I'm not planning on buying this, but I do want to see if it lets me put in. Will it let me put in a discount code? Will it let me put in a discount code without actually putting in any personal info? Hey, let's see. Kizer 2022. Boom! There you go. $26 off, ladies and gentlemen. If you want the Kizer Feist XL, you heard it from the chat. Shout out to Laura Gillespie for coming through with that heavy discount code. That is fantastic. Huge ups. Huge ups. That is awesome. So yeah, if you want a crazy good deal, $26 off of an $87 knife is fantastic. It makes me wonder, is now the time to buy a Kizer knife while that code's still active? Is it active through the end of the month? Let's find out. Hot sales. What if we were to go up in price a little bit? Does Kizer have a $500 knife? Have I seen any $500 Kizers? Ooh. Kizer Deviant Black Micarta White G10 for $150. Or is it? Oreo Dave says, how'd you drop a short while being live? Set to drop at 11:13 p.m. odd time. I didn't know that I dropped a short. It might just be that it's hitting your feed at a certain time. But I haven't released anything today. On lives, I don't typically release other content. What else? So let's find out here. All right, so now we've got the Kizer Feist XL and the Kizer Deviant. We're going to act like we're going to go check out. 30% off of that would be $70, and all of a sudden those two knives together cost $165. These games are dangerous because all of a sudden your brain starts to justify it in your mind like, well, you know, this discount code's not going to be around forever. If you let the demons in, you'll end up with more knives, I promise. That is really, really, really fantastic. Laura, we don't know who you are, but we know that you're a hero. Not all heroes wear capes. Absolutely phenomenal. Michael Morgan says maybe at Isham on the secondary. The code is good for one email address. Spider G says, I will be back going to buy a knife from Kizer. Let us know which one you get. I have to look at these knives now. Like, I have to. I feel obligated. And even if the code is only good for one email address, it's a good thing that I have multiple email addresses. All right, so let's check out the most expensive Kizer that we can find and see what kind of a deal we would get on that. We're going to go ahead and go up to $500, and we're going to search price high to low. What are we getting? Oh my lord, here we go. Kizer Mini Therium carbon fiber titanium black and gray with Damascus, $329. This is an Isham design. Many of you already know I'm a huge Isham fanboy. Absolutely love his work. This Mini Therium is almost as expensive as my Plexus. Almost as expensive as this guy. Surprisingly, a lot of people don't like this design. I think it's great, personally. So, the Mini Therium, it's sold out in your location. Wah, wah. Sad trombone. What else they got? Kizer Gunhammer. That's cool. Sold out in my location. Come on. A guy can't catch a break over here. How do we know if it's not sold out, or do I just have to click on each one? Kizer Azo, Towser K, LMAX. Here we go. We were just talking about LMAX. Here we go. So we're going to do some quick math here. 240. 72 bones off that one. That's great. And I like the look of that carbon fiber with the blue kind of peeking through. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. The only thing I don't like about the Towser K is that it appears to be thumb stud only deployment. I'm not really a big thumb stud only kind of guy. I do make exceptions here and there, but not often. And I don't know. It's gotten a lot of good reviews. Chances are it's great. I could just be passing on it because I don't like thumb stud only knives. Who knows? Gunnar Rice says, crap, now I have to buy the Kizer Soze. Do they still have those? I thought those were long gone, like super discontinued. Yeah, I mean, at least on Kizer's website, it's sold out. And I don't think this this code is good for anything outside of the website. But this could be a good time to pick up a Kizer sheepdog in the titanium if you wanted a more premium version of the sheepdog. I know that people love this knife. I still need to check it out. The Kizer Critical. That's a good looking knife. And it's sold out. How come all the ones I want are sold out? This is the story of my life right here. This is what happens. I look at a bunch of knives that I like. They're all sold out. The moment they become available, I buy them again, and then I end up with more knives. All right, we gotta start looking at knives that are actually in stock. New to old. Let's do that. What's new? Towser K, the Cormorant in this finish that I don't necessarily like. Mini Therium, Titanium. Kizer Roach. Kizer Roach is a good looking knife. Sold out. Did they just get emptied? I feel like they just got emptied during Black Friday. People are using the crap out of this discount code, tell you what. 15% off. So, does that mean that I could specifically get this one for 45% off? Does the extra discount apply? Okay, so 204. And special discount minus $30 already. Okay. And boom, just like that, a $300 knife is $142. It's really tempting. It's really, really very tempting. Top Dog says, dude, the sale has been going on for over a week. Where was I? I found out late. Michael Morgan said, had a hole put in my Towser. Also got the button lock with the hole. Nice. I thought the Kizer Towser with the button lock was the little one, the mini version. Connor Rice says, Vu dropped that code at Thanksgiving. Yeah, man, I missed it. With 30% off code, I can't imagine they have much left. I'm willing to bet they have a lot left. I'm just willing to bet that most of what they have left is not the most popular models. And yes, you can stack the code. I see that. That's fantastic. The Mega Therium is back in stock, Oreo Dave says. That's pretty cool. All right, everybody. So here's the deal. My live streams are not super long, and they're not super long because they depend on the battery in my camera. And streaming for a straight hour and a half does tend to drain it. And so around this time, when we get close to the hour and a half mark, I get notifications on my camera letting me know that it's dying. Like it has cancer, which is kind of sad. Don't worry, I'll cure it with a good overnight charge. Regardless, the stream is coming to an end. I just want to shout out everybody who joined me for the first stream after the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Thank you guys. I expected the giveaway live stream to be my biggest stream yet, and it was. And that's very typical of giveaway live streams. So to see so many awesome people in the chat supporting, coming out to hang out with me and talk knives is fantastic. Guys, I'm going to be heading out. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back here again next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern, and I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Till next time, I'm Rollshambo. I'll catch you on the flip side.